So we do. So good morning, everybody, and also good morning to people watching this on the replay. We're going to be talking about how to double your income and work half the time today. It's a catchy title on purpose, but it's really showing about how to optimize yourself in the digital world and also how to be able to prepare anything from a salt of the earth kind of heating company and be able to optimize your time doing that, all the way through to a coaching business, both of which I've got experience from growing those businesses myself. So let's just start off and hit you up with the agenda and get some of the slides up. Here we go. So welcome along. Welcome. So if you can, please keep your video on, because I like to try and make it feel like the good old days of when we have an actual meeting, particularly at the end where we do about half the session for Q&A to deep dive on stuff. Also keep the chat for questions and help, ideally not big long intros, otherwise I can't see all the lovely questions in there. So double your income, work half the time. How can we do that? And actually we should all be striving to do that. And in fact, actually I feel like I might be able to do even better than doubling your income, working half the time, show you some of these tactics today. And then we're going to take a load of questions and actually how would that apply to you? So feel free when we hit the Q&A bit to ask those. Well, actually I heard that, but I'm in this type of industry. How would that work for me? Right, wherever you're going, if you don't know the destination, any road will take you there. It really does not matter which path you go down, because if you don't know where you're going, it will take you there, right? And I love that kind of saying. It's that Cheshire cat in Alice in Wonderland, and it actually does ring true in business. If you haven't set targets and goals, you know, what are you trying to do? And actually a lot of people that apply, and we always ask when we apply to strategy sessions with us, where would you like to be in 12 months from now? And some people say, well, I like to have, 6 staff, and I'd like to be, selling in 3 different countries. And you think, well, why? What's the point in selling in different countries and selling more staff? What does that actually relate to? What is the actual point of that? And we always say that it has to get back to something that's really personal, that actually really affects the entrepreneur. And the businesses that come onto these calls, the business that we work with, are entrepreneurs. Some of them are solopreneurs, others have small teams, but it means it's personal. And if you can't make business personal, if you're trying to actually grow for growth's sake, it won't work. And trust me, I've been there before, and I'll share that story with you. So we're going to look at double your income and what's the target, because it's really time and money. Time and money is 2 important things. Now, I know once you solve the time and money piece, you will then have the space to be able to help as many people as possible. That's kind of the point. I'm not some sort of kind of greed is good type person. This is not what this is about. It's about actually creating the ability for you to be able to earn very well at your business, so you can actually help more customers, to be able to do more of the work that you're passionate about, as opposed to having to take work all over the place just because you're trying to keep the lights on, you're trying to grow the wrong type of business, right? So we look at what is your target, what do you need to sell to reach it, and how do you get the leads to be able to make that happen, right? So let's kind of look at this. So if you know personally how much revenue you want to take out of your business, and it equates you personally, then you will know what the income goal should be for your business. And we can show you how you should be able to be taking about 50% of your business's revenue after tax out of the business through a system I'm going to show you today. So first of all, we've got to know what is that target. So in the chat now, I'm going to be pushing this link in here. And Flora, also, if you can make sure that we send this around to anybody that wants the replay. But there's the link into this Google Sheet. And this Google Sheet is a sheet that I always say that you want to start to approach, and you should go and actually look at this. So when we think about goal setting, what if you were able to really know what the ideal, that kind of millionaire lifestyle actually is per month, and how much revenue you should be taking out of the business to be able to achieve that? And all along here, here's just an example. You can go here's sort of house, and you might want a holiday home, you want some cars, you might want 2 family holidays, you might want, you might put kids into schools, like private schools. This is kind of the ideal lifestyle, right? Car insurances, gardeners, whatever, disposable income. If you can go through this and actually look at, well, what's the one-off cost of it? What's the deposit that you would need to put down? If you're going to finance it, therefore, what would be the finance you'd need? The annual repayments, the monthly repayments. Doing this exercise, actually doing this exercise is really illuminating, because it's going to give you a figure of that is the ideal monthly revenue you want, right? And maybe it's more. Lots of people will find it's less than that. But say it is, so 17,000 quid a month after tax. You think, crikey, that's a lot of money per month after tax. And you go, well, what would I need to do to be able to make that happen? Well, as I've said, you need to be able to take 50% of revenue home after tax. And there's a method to doing that. And I'm going to show you that. So if that is the case, then you simply times that by 2. And now this means that this is the monthly revenue target for the business. I'll just do this biz. There you go. So we can keep it in. Right. So the monthly revenue target for the business, well, let's just do that. X there, becomes 34K, which means the annual revenue for your target is 413,000. So when I kind of talk to clients about the $1 million sprint, $1 million, by the way, per month is £61,000 in terms of the equation to pounds to dollars. When you start to think, well, actually £61,000 per month, $1 million, you don't even need that. It's almost half of that to hit the ideal lifestyle that you would need. So suddenly you're thinking, Christ, so actually I only need to get to 413,000 turnover. And many of the clients that I start to work with are kind of getting to their first 100K. Some of them just gone over 100K, getting to 200K, right? And so you go, well, actually a couple of systems and a bit of a team, and suddenly it's only a 4x growth. It's not like a Grant Cardone 10x, baby. It's not. It's like it's only 4x that you need to hit a lifestyle that is mentally great. You know, there's bloody country clubs and stuff in there, right? I mean, it's like, you know, it just fun and games. Okay. So you think, well, 34,000. And actually, when everybody says, well, what do you want to, what is your revenue target in the next 2 years, for example? And you said, oh, it's £413,505.84. It shows that you've actually thought about it as well. And if you think about it and visualize it and know it actually, what does it mean? It means all those good things. Then it has substance and it's a proper target. It's not like a fantasy target, right? So we now think about, well, actually, you know, let's think about how we can do this. So there's a great book called Profit First. And Profit First is a book that I suggest you all read. When I was growing my marketing agency, we grew to 28 staff and we're over $1 million in revenue. But the problem was, even with doing 100K a month, the business still had no money at the end of it, because I was employing people all over the place. We were going out on fun trips to Chessington Worlds of Adventures. We were taking them out for food. It was just a blazing clubhouse for young people who like marketing-y stuff. And we were good at it, but I wasn't good at looking after the money, because at the end of the day, the person that got paid last was me. And with the Profit First book, it says take your profit first. Is take the silo your different bits of revenue stream to make sure that you're not taking profit to pay staff or taking money from the owner's comp to be able to pay staff. And that was a big light bulb moment for me. And it's to do with Parkinson's theory. It's mass expands the room you give it. Or I like to say buffet theory, which is if you have a big plate, you have lots of food for the buffet. If you have a small plate, you take less food from the buffet, right? And it's kind of that. So you need to divide your business up into buffet plates, right? So if you think about this, you would take a separate bank account and you put 120% in, because by the time you're starting to think about actually, doing 100K, 200K, 400K revenue, you're going to be VAT registered. So it's 120% of revenue comes in, because of course, 20% on top is the VAT, right? So you're going to put the 20% straight away into the VAT account. Right. So there you go. You've got a nice 20% sitting in there. Lovely. Right. Now you've got 100% true income in that income account. Right. So that is now 100%. You then have to divide that into different accounts. Right. The first account is your operational expenses. Right. Your OPEX. Okay. So OPEX is the account where you pay staff, you pay for ads, you do marketing, you pay for coaching, you run the business from it, right? And you put 30% into that. Okay, so now actually you can only spend 30% of your revenue on all that other stuff, which means that if there isn't enough money in here to pay suppliers, you either have to consider your supplier arrangements, do negotiate with those suppliers to be able to pay on a fee, or try and work out a way of making you afford it. You can't take that money from anywhere else because it's meant for somewhere else. So mass expands to only 30%. So therefore we now don't overspend, right? You then look at another bank account and you start to go, well, actually we need to put money away for the tax man, right? So the corporation tax. So now we're going to do 15% of turnover. Now, corporation tax is 19% of profit, not 19% of turnover. So the keen eyes amongst us will go, well, actually, there should be an excess in there. And also you'll be thinking, well, VAT, I can reclaim some of that. So I won't be paying actually 20%. So there'd be an excess in there. Yes. So this is where the business starts to pay your personal tax. And I'll show you that in a second. Before we do, you want to be able to make sure that you have a retained profit in your business. So this is a profit account and it's 5%, right? So it's retained profit in your bank account. And that would leave exactly 50%. So that's a rainy day fund, by the way. And then that will leave 50% for, guess who? Owner's comp, right? And so now you're taking 50% of revenue as owner's comp, right? Bam, dividend. And if you're clever, you also make sure that your accountant does things like make sure you've got expenses and stuff that you're putting into that, so it's tax-free, making sure that you use the tax-free allowance, making sure you use pension, so you get 40 grand of pension out of tax. So you're not actually being taxed, high rate of tax on that 50%. You're trying to take as many tax-free arrangements out there as possible in the right way, but just obviously you have an accountant that does things intelligently for you, and they'll be able to optimize that. But there will be a tax bill because the majority of it will be dividends, particularly when you're up to, running at, 17 grand a month after tax, you'll be taking a dividend, right? And so what do you do? Well, actually, VAT works out to probably only be about 13%, most of the businesses that we coach, to actually be the claim that you put in, because 7%, i.e., the 20% of your 30% you're spending on suppliers, 7% of it will be a reclaim. So you're going to have a 7% excess in here on average that then goes and pays as a second dividend to pay your personal tax. Awesome. Then there's a VAT. Then you're only, because you're paying 55% in reality is your profit. So your tax return of 15% is only about half of that actually that would be paid for corporation tax, because the other half, because it's on 50% of entire revenue and the actual only profits is about 50%, and hence why you'd be taking half of that for tax, right? So you pay yourself another dividend, and that's where you do get 50% clean in your business. That, my friends, is how you do it. Now, the beauty of this is it works still when you get up to $1 million in revenue. It works still when you're up to 2 million in revenue, as long as you keep all these percentages works. Trust me, because I've done it twice with my businesses before, and the current business that I'm doing, that sheet that I showed you is my sheet in reality, and we've gone beyond that now. And it's a strange thing now, because it's a case of all the things that I planned are paid for, and now it's a case of using the money to invest, and then the investments make more money, and then that's how the wealth thing starts to really snowball. And it's a beautiful thing, but it can only be done by having a business that's scaled and optimized. So let's go on to this. How do we then double your money and work half the time? Well, look, this is now the target. So actually, how do we now start to think about working half the time and also increasing your revenue, right? A lot of people make the mistake of trying to do a business model that kind of looks a bit like this, right? So we all get told, yeah, let's go in and you do this lead magnet thing, and then you give them, something free, and then you do this initial offer for like 10 quid, and then you do your first tier for a price under £100 because it increased trust and it does these things, and then you got to do £1,000 things that increase promise and membership and and then you got to have your top tier because it's the big expensive thing and lots of people in there, right? So everybody tells you that online, but what they don't tell you that is that as a small business, as a 1 or 2 person business, you've got to go and deliver this cheap thing to people who are always going to ask you questions and take your time. You then also have to deliver this first tier thing, and then they're going to ask you lots of questions and time and rest. Like, and I've got to create content for that. But these guys are going to ask questions that are included in this. You've got to tell them, no, they've got to pay that. And now I've got to get into a sales conversation with all these people. So I'm having sales conversations that are taking time, and they're asking questions that are taking time. And I'm selling stuff that needs delivering all the way up. And then these guys are saying, well, actually, I need the most amount of your time because I'm paying the most amount. But then these guys are like, well, I'm still paying, a fair amount. So come and give me some time. And you're like, blah! Like, where do I get any time off? And it's just ludicrous. It's ludicrous. The reason why people brought in this system, trust me, I've been around the block enough time, is that the gurus that brought in this system sold originally the top tier. They went out and they ran a business. They might have had the story like mine, marketing agency did really well, great, sold it. People realized that. They asked me how I did it. So I then started one-to-one coaching, and I then got my big bucks one-to-one coaching. And I was like, oh, that's cool. They all did that as well. But then they realized, oh, crikey, I can't do this because it's one-to-one, it's not scalable. So then they back built the tiers from it. Okay. And then that meant, because they had so much interest to come into this, they want more and more and more people. So therefore they're down sells. And then they go, oh, that's how I've got my structure. So then they sell the fact that you need one of those structures. And everybody then goes, oh, okay, I need to have these as upsells to get people to the top tier. It's not the case. They built them as downsells, and then they sell it as a product that tells people that they need to do upsells. It's not the case. When you are a small business, you need to get rid of this mindset completely. It will kill your time. You'll spend too much time building and creating stuff. You want to do this, F to F. What do I mean by that? Free to flagship. What do I mean by a flagship product? A flagship product is the solution. It's not a blooming tiered solution of all these different ideas. It is everything that is your best thinking into a solution, and a scalable solution at that. Let me show you how you can deliver a flagship solution. And then I'm going to show you how to get the leads for it, right? So a flagship solution, if you are, and I can show you this for the marketing agency as well. But a flagship solution when you're a coach, for example, is, let's just take that thing, is that all of your ideas, all of your ideas that you were speaking to one-to-one, if you've got one-to-one clients, you'll know the same. You end up repeating yourself all the time, saying, oh, you need to do this thing, you need to work on this. And then you kind of give them different modules that they should be doing themselves. And you kind of can't remember, did I tell that person that thing, or did I tell them that? And I can't remember if I've gone over that. So put all your best thinking and ideas into an online portal, an online course, something along those lines where people consume it at their own time. Then get really, really good at understanding what you do in the market. Say, this is the result that I give to people, and this is where they are now, and how they get from where they are now to the result is this winding road. And that winding road, I don't know what that was. And that winding road is this route from now to result. And the result that I get is, I'm going to get you more leads, or I'm going to be able to help you grow your business, or I'm going to be able to help you to overcome some mental health issues. Depends on what your business is, then that's the result that you can do. And there's a journey. There's a, in this case, there's a 4-step journey to be able to get from where you are now to the result. And these are the chapters in your book, or these are the pillars in your course. These are the whatevers, right, that are your best thinking. Now they go into your online course like this, right? And so you've got these modules. So when people are coming along and doing this, they can go and do these bits, right? That's great. But nobody actually goes and buys this type of online course thing anymore, because that's just pure leadership. Nobody's interested in just thought leadership anymore. Mike, we were talking about actually how do you sell online like presentations like this in the Zoom world. Nobody buys online courses unless it's like, for like, 30 quid from Udemy or whatever. These days, nobody buys anything like that of value. What people buy is this quadrant, because they know it makes a shift. They're looking for leadership, because I'm going from, I don't really know who can solve this kind of helping me get leads thing, to, oh, I found a mentor that really helps me to get my marketing sorted and get inquiries. But then they're looking for community, because I go, well, actually, I don't really know anybody else that's a business like mine trying to solve this problem, to, oh, I found a troop of people that are all very similar to my business trying to get this problem solved. Awesome. I'm in the right room. I found my peer group, right? I'm also not really knowing how this advice relates to me personally, because there's so many generic YouTube videos out there and all these how-tos, but actually, how does this work for me? I want to get that personalization. What about my special case, my special business? And then finally, I need to routinely actually go about this. So I go from sporadically kind of thinking about solving this result, getting this pain solved, to actually now I'm making a habit of coming in and getting this problem solved. That is, I've got my leader, I'm in the right place, I'm getting personal advice and help, and I've made a habit of it. And the final thing that locks all this together is accountability. Accountability to show up, accountability to get the things done personally, accountability to be a good member of a community, to be a good buddy, and accountability to do the advice that I'm being given in the leadership, right? That's what people buy. That is the accelerator. And if you can say, right, I'll take you from here to here within a time period that works for people in terms of how they feel is a realistic time period to get the result, and you give them this quadrant, they're like, whoa, that's awesome. So how do we relate this back to our little online course here? Well, and also how do we make it scalable? So if you then put in, say, 3 drop-in clinics a week, right? Because what we want to do, we want to be able to sell anytime. We don't want cohorts. We don't want to do this kind of boom bust where we try and sell a cohort and then we can't sell forever. And we want to have like 20 people in this cohort, but we only get 16. And we're like, oh, I'm not really profitable now. I'll try it better this time. And we get like, 18 here, but I'm not really catching up. So the targets, and you can't sell for another quarter, right? You want to be able to sell every single week. So you bring people into your program. You do like a one-to-one onboarding with them, you get them sorted, you give them a plan, you say, hey, you want to do that and that first, and you go do this and this. And then once you've done that, drop in and see me at this drop-in clinic. You then have these drop-in clinics as live Zooms. So therefore, people are seeing your leadership in there, but they've also got community. They've got routine because there's 3 a week. So routine, and they can ask questions. So you're giving personalized advice in there. That you then say to them, hey, do this bit, come and see me on Wednesday. Come and do that, and then do this bit, and then come see me on Friday. So now you're giving them a track, you're giving them personalized advice. It's small snippets, but I'm also seeing people ahead of me because there's other people in the route and behind me, and I'm helping, and I'm feeling kind of part of something. Awesome. Then the final thing you want to put in underneath is a community, like a VIP community. This could be a Facebook group or a Slack channel or something like that. And in there, you put the recordings of these sessions so people can catch up. And also people can ask questions, so it gives more community. They see these things regularly, so there's routine. They can ask personalized questions, and they get leadership in there. So you've got a community piece, drop-in clinics, online thought leadership. That's how it can work. And the accountability stuff is you put a post into there every Monday and say, hey, what's the 3 things you're going to get done? We call that 3 things Monday. And everybody says, I'm going to get this done, this done, this done. Then you check in with them on Wednesday. We call that Momentum Wednesday. And everybody goes, okay, yeah, I'm getting my 3 things done. And then you have a Friday Finishers Club and say, who's got their 3 things done? Yep, great. We've all got our 3 things done. And we're all celebrating. So we all got this momentum together, right? It's a tailored accelerator. But the beauty of this, my friends, is that your time is actually, look, 3 hours here. 3 hours delivery, and you can have 100 clients in it. So when you think about this, when I was a one-to-one client, when I was doing one-to-one coaching, I had 2 clients, 2 sessions a week per client. And so therefore I was capping out about 15 clients max, and I was crazy busy. Whereas now you can work 3 hours per week delivery, and you can have about 100 clients. And the experience is still awesome. So the actual value, these guys only saw me 2 per month. These guys get to see me 3 times a week. Right? Plus all the community stuff, plus all the extras. This is actually better than this for the client and for you. See how that win-win works. Mind-blowing, right? So how do you now then easily sell people onto this? Well, let me just show you this. You then go, right, I'm going to now need to be, so we've got 3 hours. So let's say 3 hours are in the bag in terms of delivery, right? How do we now go and sell this? Well, we talk about this funnel, And a lot of what I talk about in my strategy sessions, when people want to spend a bit more time with us, we talk about how do you put together awareness, consider, convert, and then this is the deliver bit, which is the delight, gamify, and advocacy, right? So you need a funnel. You need a way of getting people aware of you. You need a way of people getting consider you, and a way of getting people to convert, as in a sales conversation. When I work with clients, I put together a funnel like this with them so they know exactly the type of funnel that they should be working. And I say to them, it's the power of one traffic source. So that's one way of people becoming aware of you. One consideration event. So that's one thing that they kind of spend a bit more time in, actually understanding a bit about you. And then one call to action, i.e. come to a strategy session. That's one, totally optimized. So you can see here, Anne here is working on LinkedIn. It's her one platform. She does a connection request campaign, and she does an organic posting, and she gets attention for her one consideration event, which is a weekly educational event called the Weekly Moment, similar to something like this, right? Where she brings lots of people into a call and shows them something cool, hopefully makes them think, oh, actually, that's wicked, right? And then she has one call to action, which is, hey, come along to a strategy session where I can talk a bit more about you and actually how this stuff can apply better for you, right? And so hence why awareness, consider, convert, right? And that's the convert. It's a strategy session, maybe there's a decision call, sign a contract, etc. Job done, right? By knowing that plan and having that plan, she can go and deliver against that plan and build it. Let me kind of show you how that looks like on this, right? So she goes and finds her target audience on LinkedIn, right? So she wants to work with people who are looking to do career transitions. In Anne's case, she says to them, hey, come along to my thing about, finding your dream job, as a thing, right? So they all come and sign for that. She looks to get about 30 registrations to come along. She's looking for about 20 people to actually attend that event, because she knows she gets 20 people to attend that event, she's going to get herself 5 strategy sessions, right? And those strategy sessions she'll book in. They could be group, or they could be actually 5 strategy sessions. If she does those 5 strategy sessions, then she will probably on average get 2 sales, right? We call that the 30, 25, 2. That's her rhythm, 30, 25, 2. And she does that every week because it's a weekly moment. It's a weekly event, which means her activity every week is to drive 30 registrants, to get 20 people to attend, to get 5 strategists, to get 2 sales, 30, 25, 2. So how does she get to $1 million in revenue? Well, if she goes and then sells a product that's, say, a 12-month product, right? $1 million in revenue. So if she gets a 12-month product and say she says that 597 per month, and she then times that by 2 clients per week, right? So she's getting 597 per month, but times 2 of those, right? So that's what she's getting putting per clients. And then because they're paying that per month, you times that by 12 months for the length of the contract. So the value of 2 clients paying 597 for a 12-month contract is 14 grand. Awesome. But she's doing that every single week. So let's times that by 50. Let's give her those 2 weeks off for Christmas. So 50 weeks. She's going to do that for 716,000 revenue that she will win doing her 30, 25, 2. If you worked out what 716,000 was in pounds and converted that to US dollars, I think you'll find that's $1 million business, right? So therefore, that's how, if I was to equate that back to my business, that's how I help people to do their $1 million sprint, is that she works there. Do you know what the beauty is for Anne? Is that when she looked at it, she was like, when I did that, how much do I actually want to earn revenue wise? I suddenly realized that I don't actually need to get to $1 million business. Actually, she was more like 50% of that, right? And so as we saw today, so she said to me, well, she's still going to do my 30, 25, 2, because if I have a week where I sell 2, awesome. But say I only sell 1 week, that's not actually a problem, is it? Because I'm still on track. And if I get none 1 week, but I got 2 the week before, I'm still on track. And the beauty of knowing those numbers empowers you to be able to do that. And of course, because she's got a system like this where she can take 100 clients plus into that and still deliver. And by the way, when you get up to 100 clients, what you do is you actually add in another drop-in clinic here and another drop-in clinic. So you do 1 a day, 5 days a week. and you'll probably not do them all yourself. So you might have a guest mentor there and a guest mentor there or something like that, or you might do a community session where it's like more Q&A. You can be creative around it, right? So it just means that you're still only delivering an hour a day for that. So you're doing your 5 hours. So this is kind of working half the time, right? So I'm gonna kind of pause for questions in a second, right? So you're still working your five hours delivery at scale there, and then you're still having to do your, say, 5 strategy sessions, because if you're doing those one-to-ones, that's fine. You can do that group if you want, so you could cut that from 5 hours to 1 hour if you wanted to. You still need to do your 1 hour weekly moment, but that is 11 hours per week. Who's got 11-hour work week? I do. My mind's less actually, but there you go. But the point being is, I'm being a dickhead. Sorry, I shouldn't be swearing. My fault. But the point of this, gang, is it is totally achievable and totally optimized. And you might say, well, how do you get people along to it? And how do you get people to your weekly moment? Well, we talk about the 13-week cycle. And I'll leave you with this idea and then open up for questions. The idea of a 13-week cycle is to run 13 weekly moments and all the subsequent social media for those 13 weekly moments. Let me just show you our Trello board where we manage ours. So once you run that cycle and have done that 13 times, then all the marketing, all the emails, all the presentations are all sorted for 13 weeks. Let me just show you. Where's our content calendar? Here you go. This is what we coach our clients to put together. So once you've done this cycle once, so knowing on Monday you do engagement creators, Tuesday you promote your weekly moment, Wednesday do a weekly moment, Thursday do a replace weekly moment, Friday you do thought leaderships, and then do next week's event and promote that. Once you've done that and you've written all the text and copy out into different cards that relate to this, then that entire piece you outsource to your team, who then go and deliver this content. And these are social media posts and emails. It's a blend of social media posts and emails, which will deliver your 30-25-2 for you. So you're just turning up to your weekly moments of presenting, you're turning up to your strategy sessions and selling, and therefore you're turning up to your daily delivery pieces, and you're delivering. And that's how you get to scale at a totally optimized and outsourced methodology. Right. That is where I'll leave it for questions. Thank you, everybody that's kind of worked through that. And yeah, happy to throw it out to the room and take further questions. Feel free. My son's about to come in as well, so just on cue. Hello, mate. You're all right. Half term, you see. So cool. Who's got some questions, gang? Let's go. Sam, go for it. Congratulations, Sam, on your new baby, by the way.
Thank you very much. I'm looking obviously like I've just got a new baby. So very exciting. Thank you. I appreciate it. I'm curious, your model works really nicely over a 12-month agreement. So you've got your 597 times 12. I'm not sure about Anne, but I'm in a similar world to, I think, the one you just described for her, where it's about career transitions, career coaching and so on. Most of my clients do not want to get a new job in 12 months time. What they want is a job fast. And so the idea of signing up for 12 months is going to seem pricey or unnecessary. How do you position that in their mind? I've got a few things that extend it, like first 90 days coaching, that kind of thing, so it can continue. What would you advise on that, Richard?
It's exactly that. So not only Anne, but also Rachel and Rebecca, who work with returning mums. They've got a separate business, completely separate client, both $1 million sprinters, and they are all in this space. And so they do the first bit, which is kind of what is the dream job, then the getting the dream job, which is kind of Q1, Q2 on average, because some people go faster. And then it's that first 90 days, you're right. And then afterwards, it's then looking at that kind of wheel of life, right? So relationships, work, health, etc. And it transitions into a bit more of a life coaching arrangement. Now, what you can do and what they've done is to have a break. So you can say, right, once you got your job, you are welcome to stop this, but we still think you want to work for the 90 days. And then after the 90 days, you can then roll in. So you can kind of give them a get out clause, but always have a longer line horizon, because there's nothing worse than a client that's an awesome client working with you 3 months. And they're like, great, thanks for the 3 months. Feel like I've done it. Tick, I'm now off. And you suddenly think, well, actually, that's not kind of what I was thinking. Like, what's really like, I thought we were doing some great work here, but it's only because your course stopped after 3 months. They stopped. They just, that was what they were always brought. That's what they always planned. Whereas if you say to them, it rolls into hey, now we've got the dream job. What about actually life and working through? And we see each other, and you can go to a slightly maybe less expensive, but more like a group check-in. So Cara, kind of who's another $1 million sprinter, she works more on actually personal life coaching piece. So she does her accelerator for about 6 months, and then she has a group check-in, like an alignment session every month, and that's like a smaller, like 197 quid fee as opposed to the 597 per month, and that's just the group of alumni that carry on working with her. And it's kind of in affinity because they start to build personal relationships, they stay in the Facebook group, and you kind of have that membership. But it's because of the longer time horizons that she's been able to warrant keeping those people in, because people don't start with a 3-month mindset. They start with a longer mindset, knowing they've got to get out jail free card if they want it.
It's quite nice that they drop down into a lower tier rather than drop out. So
yeah,
that makes sense. Right.
Yeah.
Lovely. Thank you.
No worries. But the big thing here, do you remember we talked about free to flagship and not a tiered? The point is they are all buying the same thing. So they drop into that, but their experience doesn't change and your delivery doesn't change. It just means that they still get access to all the courses, they still get access to that, but they've gone through the bits in the past. And so now they're just making use of like a monthly, alumni group that you just have. That's the only extra delivery in there, but it's still part of the same program. You're not kind of reselling.
They still have full access.
Yeah, they still have full access to everything, which is great because they might want to top up. And you just don't want to have to stop people getting access to stuff or the rest of it. They went through the 6 months, great, they got the job, or they kept on working on the higher amount until they got the job, and then they got into the alumni, because it's after the 90 days, then an alumni, and then in that session, then they talk about other, kind of more life stuff, and that's how it can work really well.
I've got another question. I don't know if anybody else has got a hand up, but if
before you take that question, so we'll jump to that question. So thank you, Sam. You see how I'm putting those applications towards Sam and actually how his business would work. And I'd love to talk to each individual one of you about how your business model could work that way. And I do remember I built a marketing agency where I actually did even less amount of delivery. In fact, I did no delivery within my marketing agency and scaled that to $1 million revenue. I also had a boiler servicing business where I wasn't legally allowed to open a boiler because I wasn't gas safe trained, and I was being able to scale that business as well to $1 million revenue. So both on all sets, I can show you how your business can actually work and go scalable, and actually how to approach that. How would you do that? You book into a strategy session with me, and let me just quickly show you that. At the top of my website here, you see there's a link here. It says free strategy session, right? And on that page, you can see that there's this big orange button here. Loads of people there, lots of little success stories that we've had. You click on that orange button. I'll just grab this link now and I'll share that in the chat. So jump on that link now and click on it and book in one of these sessions. You can see I only do them on Wednesdays, and it's only at 12:30. So there's still space today if you want to jump on this, and I'd highly recommend it. You simply click on that and obviously press confirm. We've all kind of used Calendly before, that's what it is. In that session, we work out where you are now, where you want to be in 12 months time, what the scalable solution is, be able to help. We look at actually how you can bring in some of these a little bit more detail into your business. Do jump on one of those calls, and I look forward to seeing you there. Cool, thank you. Back to you, Sam.
So it really related to what you said earlier about watching the gurus build back the tiered system. and the tearing your hair out because you got too busy with the, I don't know how many clients it is now. It's going really well, but it's the old wrong model, and it's exactly what you said. But when I look at your first bit of the grid, because you said, wait for this, you said you just put all your stuff onto a portal. I haven't got time to do that.
Yeah.
So how do you just find time to do that? What's your advice? Because I'm so busy, new baby that you can hear wailing in the background, 2-hour sleep-in stretches, all of that stuff.
Yeah.
But I want to move into this, but it makes I just don't know how to find time because I'm already too caught up doing stuff for people.
It's a great question, and we get asked it all the time. So the answer is simple. You lay the tracks the train goes down it. So the point of the first 2 or 3 people that buy from you, they're still buying an accelerator, but you say to the first two or 3 people, this will be a group program, but for the first few months, because you're special and I love you so much, Mr. Perfect Case or whatever it is, I'm going to work with you one-to-one just to get some bits working for you, and then I'll start to introduce you to the group, right? Or you just simply say to them, you're going to be the beta, and you do a beta launch and get your beta testers in and give them a one-to-one experience. So what you do is you create, so you see there was a 4-step system there. So maybe step 1 is like the first quarter. What you do is that you say, right, week 1, Q1, you build that bit of the online content the week before they start. Bam, so they're getting it. And then this week, you're then building next week's, and they're delivering this week. And so you can do that. And also you can deliver some live stuff to them, take that recording and also put it into the platform for the rest of the people. So you basically are only building 1 week ahead of your first few. And even if you don't have time for that, you can just still deliver live to the first few, record it, and then that becomes the course content until you then start to circle back, and then you can backfill it and make it shorter, etc. That's the way that you build it.
I think it's really, the trouble is it's so addictive to sell the thing you've been selling. It's quite scary to sell the new thing that doesn't actually exist yet. That's, I think, perhaps what I'm doing, because I get to that point where I could, and then I think, well, it's just easier to sell the thing that's actually more expensive and get the cash on that. So it's, yeah, so I've got to kind of work out a new sales process, I guess, and just take that plunge to put someone into that new direction, because otherwise I keep making it worse rather than better.
Yeah, exactly. You've got to get, I mean, I had to do that. So for example, when I started the coaching side, I actually still had my marketing agency, and I was trying to do some coaching as well as marketing. And the issue that I found when I was coaching people, I'd be like, right, all you need to do is build your Facebook ads and do how to do this and this, right? And I'd try and show them how to do that. And then they wouldn't do it, and I'll just get frustrated saying, well, look, why don't my team just go and do it for you? And then they would go and do it, and then I'd have to charge them way more than they need to be paying, because the problem is with marketing agencies have to pay a lot of fees, and you shouldn't use a marketing agency for doing small Facebook campaigns. They'll just overcharge you. And I was then so conflicted, because I was like, oh, here's the easy option for me, but actually the harder option is the coaching. So I couldn't do both at the same time. So I had to once I sold the marketing agency, then it was a lot easier. But I said, I can't do it for you, so therefore here's how you do it. And therefore I got really good at articulating how to put together these things simply, and then it all started to work. So I'm not saying get rid of the old thing. What I'm saying is that you just say to yourself, no more do I do that. I have retired from done for you, which I know that what you're doing is done for you stuff, and I only sell this program. It's that power of one. I just sell one thing, because if you know that I'm the person that can help you get that result, then you either buy that or you don't. It's a 1 or a 0. It's a yes or a no. If you believe I'm the person for you, then I believe this is the best program for you. Simple as that. There is no other program.
Thank you.
Okay, no worries. Got time for another question? If people want to get one, but just before I do, just remember, do jump onto that strategy session. Thank you for the guys that just jumped onto that, because I've got my phone pinging already. So here you are. So jumping onto this. So just remembering, I'll chuck that back into the chat just for you. If you're watching this on a replay, it will be below the chat. or on the comments if you're watching this on YouTube. But for you guys on here, do jump on that, and I'll see you at a strategy session. Final question. Final time for another question. Like it. Quiet today. It's okay. Who's had some thoughts or who thinks this wouldn't work for their business?
Look, can I?
Yes, Mike.
I think it could. I'm a speaker, so I do live stage stuff, and I mean I've got a skill. It's a genuine skill. So I want to know how I can use that skill into something that gives me residual, continuous revenue, whether it's coaching people. I'm not a qualified coach.
No.
I don't know if that matters.
Nor am I.
But I want to find the kind of gem out of what I'm doing that can be providing continuous revenue. So the coaching would fit into the model that you're talking about. But I wanted to know if there's other kind of hybrid models that can work.
Yeah, try and work it as a, whatever you do, try and have a thought leadership and then drop it. So we've got Marie Richardson, who is a speaker coach. So she helps executives to be able to do speaking gigs, and so they come on to do her courses, but then she has a speaker spotlight once a week. So it's like a little mini show that they put on internally, 3 or 4 different speakers, they'll speak, and the rest of the audience, part of her accelerator, will take notes. She will critique them afterwards, and that works really well. So you got the drop-in on the Tuesday, and then the speaker spotlight on a Friday. So the drop-in is for people to get prepared and ask questions about it, etc. And then the spotlight is the practice. And then the online bit, and then the community piece, all works within that scenario, and it's scalable. Yes, all right, there's a couple of hours of time delivery that you have to look after and think about, but there are other speaker coaches out there that could come on and do those if you're away on holiday, etc. That's the other thing. If you're away on holiday, gang, you just have a special guest that comes in and takes it for a week whilst you're away. It works really well. It keeps the thing fresh as well. So it's all positives, and you can work this in many different ways. But the big thing is one-to-one clients are a commitment, and multiple one-to-one clients is a more hard and more tricky to then go away on holiday and try and rearrange diaries, etc. than having 2 or 3 hours that you just have to cover when you're away, and it's by far more scalable, and so that's taken. And when it comes to speakers like to be amongst other people and be in a community. And if it was a VIP golden club that was just for your speakers, then people are learning from you and learning that style because they see you speak, they think they're great, they like you to do what you're doing, and so therefore join your club. It is, and of course you can do it anywhere in the world. So when you're away doing speaking gigs in the other side of the world, you can still deliver for your clients that time. You might have to shift it time zone wise, but they'll be okay with that.
Yeah. Thank you.
Cool. Right. Jump on that strategy session, gang. Lovely seeing you all here. We'll loop round with some of those swipe files for you and the recording. But see you next week on Wednesday, always at 9 o'clock for the Marketing Roundtable. And I would love to catch up with you in the meantime at strategy session. So good to see you, gang. Take care. Thank you so much. And see you on the next one. Cheers. Bye.